for actors along the crop livestock value chain production.
This workshop for actors along the crop livestock production system is a result of the new thinking of integrating research for development as part of the innovation systems of engaging agricultural innovations through multi-stakeholder processes. The Crop Livestock Intensification Project is an Australian government-funded project being implemented by the Gambia and other countries within the sub-region. The scope of the project is on small ruminants and crop livestock integration in the value chain of agricultural production.
It's on working on small ruminants and crop, so it's crop livestock integration. And it's a 3-year project. It is a grant we had from Australian government funded through the Australian Agency for International Development, through CORAF-WECAT. This is a regional organization in Dakar that is working with research systems in West and Central Africa. So we just started implementing this project this year. We are in the 8th month. And one of the key objectives of this project is to use the innovation platform approach in disseminating all the informations and research results we are going to gather at the end of the day. And
the role of these actors in the crop livestock production processes and in the attainment of the set targets of boosting agricultural productivity is thus imperative. However, it must be borne in mind that giving them the requisite knowledge and skills could be one way of effectively engaging them. Barely 8 months after its offshoot, the Livestock Intensification Project is said to be making great progress in the rural districts of Nyanija, Chamen, and Sabah Sanjan, with 5 strategic intervention areas.
The project has about 5 resource areas. It is working on crop livestock integration, and the main crops that we are working on is groundnut and cowpea, and small ruminants, that is chicken goods. So the first resource area deals with the baseline survey that we have already done before we identify and select our farmers and the districts. Then the second one is on modeling. And one thing I forgot to say, that the project is a regional project. It's being conducted in the Gambia, Ghana, Mali, and Benin. So
whatever the results of this exercise, nobody stands all by himself and said, I did it. In the same way, if it fails, it is all of us who have failed. And I'm sure nobody wants to be identified with failures.
Officials highlighted the need for such innovative platforms as a major way of intensifying production processes, especially in the areas of crop and small ruminant production.
I remember in those days, when we were young researchers, when we were talking about this farming systems research and extension, whereby researchers would be on their own, conceive ideas, develop themes, come out with research activities, and then at the end of the day, without the participation of the other actors, come out with ideas, come up with new technologies. But then there is always the problem of how to move the technology from the research field to the end users.
The grant for the Small Livestock Integration Project, though small and could not attain countrywide coverage. However, it is hoped that with the success story of the first phase of the project, future funding could be secured to expand and build on the gains made. Samuel Ba, GRTS.
The Department of Youth and Sports has concluded a capacity enhancement program for personnel of the Ministry of Youth and Sports. The synergy is designed to improve the awareness of participants of the planning, monitoring and evaluation strategies of their line ministry. Babakar Kamara reports.
Decided to organize this 2-day capacity building workshop to build the capacities of the staff of the ministry so that they can match implementation requirements.
It is a 3-day capacity building training program pioneered by the Department of Youth and Sports under a new administration with a forward-looking vision and strategy.
They brought her to work on the planning situation of the department, the whole Ministry of Youth and Sports. So based on that, she came out with this idea that before coming up to start her work properly, she needs to invite the regional officers to come over with the stakeholders within the ministry to come and share ideas on monitoring and evaluation.
The Capacity Building Forum seeks to induct officials and stakeholders in youth and sports development with requisite knowledge and skills, particularly when the civil service is under reformation.
Government over the years has changed its program directive from a normal side of budgeting to program-based budgeting. So as a matter of fact, we feel that all our staff, including our stakeholders in the youth fraternity, should be brought together so that they are enlightened as to how the whole transformation is taking place. So by way of that, it comes to planning, monitoring, evaluation, particularly again with regards to their report writing formats.
As participants gather to accune themselves with principles and procedures, officials are optimistic for an efficient workforce capable to implement policies and program of action for the Youth and Sports Ministry. Babukar Kamara, GRTS.
Well, we're going to take a very short break now. The news continues right after.
Who is Gambia's funniest comedian who can get people laughing and has the humor that cuts across? Damane, kan mo am fit pour tahaw live? Re loma nga re. Ñepp daldi hahatay. All you have to do is to text comedy, C-O-M-E-D-Y on 2020 200, 30 30 300, 60 60 600 and 999 0909. Participants are invited in Mandinka, Wolof and English. Gambia's funniest coming soon. Just text and we will call you back.
Welcome back to GRTS News. African leaders have offered support to efforts aimed at driving Islamic militants from northern Mali. Representatives of the African Union, ECOWAS, UN and the European Union met in Bamako in another desperate move to settle the long-drawn insurgency in Mali. Meanwhile, the African Union has called for another meeting with a possibility of sanctioning military action against the militants. We have details of that story in this report.
Representatives from about 20 countries met in Bamako on Friday to lay plans to wrestle back control of northern Mali from Islamist rebels. The overall mood following the meeting was positive.
We are on the right track, and we believe that a conclusion is not far off.
Representatives from the African Union, ECOWAS, United Nations and European Union say they are a step closer to reaching a consensus over whether to launch a military operation. Last week, the UN Security Council adopted a resolution giving ECOWAS 45 days to prepare the details of its plan to send 3,000 troops. Negotiations with the insurgency are deadlocked, and military action is likely. The AU has called another meeting for next Wednesday.
The Security Council of the African Union will soon make its decision based on our work here in Bamako. We hope then to return to the UN Security Council within the 45-day period stipulated under Resolution 2071 and to present it with a document agreed upon by the entire international community.
Mali's interim president said on Friday that military action supported by foreign troops was urgent. But the international community is refusing to commit itself until the political dithering in Bamako ends. Included in yesterday's declaration was the demand that the interim government hold free and transparent elections before the end of April of next year.
The United Nations Security Council has formally accused Rwanda and Uganda of backing the M23 rebels in the east of the Democratic Republic of Congo. The Security Council has warned it will press fresh sanctions against the two countries. And supporters of jailed Senegalese sect leader Serine Betchachun have demonstrated in Dakar. The demonstration turned ugly as the mob went on to rampage, burning 2 vehicles in the capital. The crowd is calling for the release of the controversial sect leader who was serving jail for his part in a murder case. We have details of those stories in this report.
Following a recent report linking Rwanda and Uganda with the M23 rebel movement in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, the UN Security Council formally accused both countries of backing the rebels. The Security Council expresses deep concern at reports indicating that such support continues to be provided to the M23 by neighboring countries. The Security Council